my name is Wanda, and this is so scary to do, but I feel I need to. So here goes. Um, I live in the Netherlands. I am 47 years old, and 2 weeks ago I discovered that I have never in my life been seen for who I am, but worse yet, I have not seen myself for who I am. And this may sound a bit simplistic, but I am a highly sensitive and highly conscious woman, and I never really knew about that, because I think that as a baby I forced myself to close off my heart and my feelings to be able to cope with my surroundings, with the situation I was in. And that has led to a lifetime of searching for what suited me, not knowing what that was, if that was about an occupation or the right people, the right schools, the right knowledge. I didn't know. I was just searching. While I was making all these decisions out of my head, and ultimately those decisions brought me back to who I am, to who I truly am. But it feels for me, as 47 years old now, that I have led the wrong life for 47 years long, and that included a lot of self-sabotage. With all the pain and all the anguish that came with it, and my self-sabotage lies in me not attracting the right money, not attracting the right people in my business, and basically because I wasn't following my heart. I wasn't following my heart's desires, my soul longing, my soul purpose, because I didn't know about it. Or yet I did know about it. I could feel, I could sense what it was, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And so I kept doing all these things that didn't really suit me. Out of my head, wanting to make a success of it. And now I know that you can't be successful in the things that you don't really long for. Because if your heart is not in it, especially when you have your own business, if your heart is not in it, you might as well do nothing at all, because the money won't flow. And for me, having led a lifetime living from my head, making decisions from my head, never being able to feel what it was that made me feel any joy in life, like I said, I was in the wrong surroundings. I was in the wrong schools, and everywhere I went, it felt like everybody belonged there except me. And I was kind of forced, I think, by the universe to start my own business in 2008 because I couldn't cope in corporate life anymore. Because I was far too sensitive for corporate life, and it wasn't my path to be there. It was my path, but it turned out to be my path to quit corporate life and start a business of my own. Which at that moment felt to me like I had finally found the thing that suited me. Only I think it was the universe's way of finally giving me something to heal myself. So, to be more implicit, I was raised with a groomer as a mom. So I was raised in the grooming salon of my mom's, but I never wanted to be a groomer because I think I saw how my mom kind of lost herself by servicing to all the demands of her customers and working lots of hours to be able to make a living for us. And also I recently found out that because my mom is sensitive, but she closed her eyes for that as well. But she was never really able to deal with humans as well as she was in dealing with dogs. And so for me, growing up, our lives always revolved around dogs, and my mother seemed to love dogs more than us. She gave more attention, more physical attention, more loving attention to the dogs than she did to us. And so I think that my resistance to the thought of being a groomer didn't only had to do with money and the subservient role to the customers, but it also had to do with my not feeling good enough because it felt like I was always compared to the dogs and didn't get the love that I need. I wasn't seen for who I was, and by my mom as well. And so what happened to me was that when I was forced to quit corporate life, and I was forced because time and time again I lost my job, and I was told that I was too communicative to work in corporate life, and I was working in IT surroundings and accountancy, which weren't the right environments for me, but I never I never felt that. I never knew that. And so I was turned away time and time again, making me go further into my head, making me force myself to do even better this time, to make even more of an effort to do my best and to be what others wanted me to be, to live to the expectations of others, to meet the expectations of others. And after losing my jobs lots of times and becoming a pro in getting jobs that weren't the right fit for me, I really felt that I was going to lose myself. And I felt that so strongly that I had to quit corporate life. And so I started working with my mom in the grooming salon because I had a life coaching session which was out of the blue, which was a total synchronization at that time. But that made me wanna face my resistance to becoming a groomer, because I knew that my mother always wanted me to be a groomer because I had helped her when I was a kid during holidays, and she always said I had a talent for it. But because I didn't want to be a groomer, I never gave myself that shot to find out if that was what I wanted. And so I wanted to face my resistance, and maybe if I went through that, maybe I could somehow be okay with being a groomer and take over her business like she wanted. And so I started working with her in the grooming salon in 2008. And I did a course, education, to become a life coach myself. And I thought it would be so neat to work part of the time with people and part of the time with dogs. And that turned out a bit differently, because when I started grooming, and that was the first time that I was able to do the shaping, so the trimming of the dogs. When as a kid I was only allowed to bathe them and to dry them and to brush them. And when I was allowed to try that creative part of the grooming side, I found out that I really enjoyed it, because I was transforming the dogs. And to me that felt like a personal achievement, a personal win. And so when the time came that I got my certificate to be a professional groomer, because I started grooming school as well, and I got my certificate to be a professional life coach, that was a time that my mother wasn't ready to leave her business quite yet. And so I needed to think of something else. And at that time, there were customers with labradoodles that came to us because my mother was specialized in water dogs, in French water dogs. And those breeds weren't very common by then. And back then, my mother introduced the French water dog here in the Netherlands. Had introduced them some maybe 10 years before then. And so she had built a name in that. She had a reputation in knowing how to groom the water dogs, because she also she made the grooming schedules for them. And because we groomed the water dogs in a very natural, fluffy way, the Labradoodles of that time came to us as well, because Labradoodles were becoming quite popular, and they were always either they were shaved, they were clipped short by groomers that didn't know how to handle the coats, how to deal with the coats, or they were groomed like poodles, because that was what the groomers back then knew. And back then it wasn't common for people to start grooming their dogs themselves. And so there were customers. I don't know if it was one customer or if there were more, but they loved that fluffy way of grooming that we did on their Labradoodles. And they started asking me if I could teach them how to do that. And for me, it was like a light switch went on, because this I knew was my way to integrate my grooming skills with my life coaching skills. And at that moment I knew that I was asked by the universe to start giving grooming workshops to Labradoodle owners and water dog owners. And so I started my websites, and I was the first one that seemed to be talking about Labradoodle grooming, Labradoodle coat care. There wasn't any information on the internet back then about that. And so I started giving those first workshops, and people just ran to me because they really had a need for this. And there weren't any groomers back then that gave any workshops, because they didn't know how to deal with the high maintenance Labradoodle coats. They just shaved them. And this is how my business started. And at that moment, for me, it felt like eureka. Yes, I have found the thing that suits me. I have found the thing that I am supposed to do. But then the personal development started. Because in my business, even though it took me back to opening my heart, because of working with the dogs did that, and back to feeling again, my head soon started to take over, because I saw all these possibilities for myself internationally, because I was the first one. I was the first one that gave the grooming workshops for Labradoodle owners. And I was the first one who wrote about Labradoodle grooming and Labradoodle coat care online. So I saw all these possibilities. And my head took over. And I started doing all these seminars to learn how to build a business, how to build a successful business. I started reaching out to success coaches. I wanted to have a web shop. I wanted to give the grooming workshops. I wanted to give group workshops. I wanted to give private workshops. And it became a whole thing. And to make the story short, it started my path of personal development, then of spiritual development, because after having earned my life coaching certificate, the really true thing that I wanted to do was be a life coach. But I also felt that there were some life lessons I needed to live through first before I could do that, before I could help other people, other women, with their life struggles. Because I had my own life struggles to go through first. And so for me, giving those grooming workshops to women especially, it always was my way to bring women empowerment. It was my way to help women become self-reliant in grooming their own doodle, but helping them become more confident by doing something that they never thought possible, and by growing their self-leadership in that way, and strengthening the bond with the Labradoodle at the same time. Because most Labradoodle owners, they never had a dog before because of their allergies or because of asthmatic problems. They could never have a dog, and so for the first time they had a dog, and they didn't know how to be a leader to that dog because they never learned. And the fact that Labradoodles are highly sensitive, and I think maybe the most highly sensitive dogs that exist, so the interaction between owner and their Labradoodle was very special. And I already knew back then, I could feel back then, that Labradoodles needed a special kind of care because of their highly sensitivity. And I could also sense that the women that bought a Labradoodle were just as sensitive as their doodle. So for me, it was a way to strengthen the bond between them, to help them give each other what they needed, and help the women sense what their doodle needed, because working one-on-one, intimately, that took a lot of courage, but also a lot of trust. So it's another way of communicating with a dog. And I could sense that. And all along, while I was building my business and doing all the self-development and spiritual development myself, doing other spiritual courses, etc., to heal myself without knowing that I needed to be healed, but I was still searching for the true thing that I was here to do. And so I learned a lot, and I wanted to integrate it in my work, in my business. And I couldn't see how. And I tried several times over the years, but I just couldn't get to the heart of it. I couldn't quite understand what the big picture was. And so, in hindsight, I can see that I needed to grow myself spiritually, start seeing that big picture of why we do what we do, and I needed to sabotage myself to find myself again. And now that it is that I know what I am supposed to do, I'm 47 years old, and I know that for me it's about helping women remember who they truly are. And one way to do that is by starting to learn how to groom your doodle yourself, because it forces you to go totally out of your comfort zone and step into the best version of yourself while you're connecting with your doodle in a very different way, making you open your heart and listen to your body. And grooming is like, I call it an active way of meditating, because when you start grooming, you forget everything around you, and time goes fast, and you forget to eat, you forget to drink, because you are so in tune with your dog, with your labradoodle. And that gives way for magical things to happen, because it's all about returning to who we are, and who we are is seated inside us, inside our body, inside our hearts. And as long as we are functioning from our heads, we can't really properly live. We can't live life to the fullest, and we can't fully embrace who we are as humans, because all the joy and all the pleasure and all the feeling what it is that we need to feel seen, to feel worthy, to feel loved, is in our bodies. So we need our bodies and we need our heart to become fully human, because we are energy having a human experience. And so for me, I have discovered that probably I have been highly sensitive all of my life. I have always felt that magic is possible and that the way things are in the world, they are so wrong and they don't suit us. Because we, in our core, are as sensitive as our labradoodles. And so I think that's a lesson if you have a labradoodle, that you are as sensitive as they are. And they are here to show you. They are your soul mates. And when your labradoodle is ill, because lots of labradoodles, because they are so sensitive, and they are also sensitive to illnesses, to diseases, to allergies, to skin problems, to ear infections, you name it. But this society isn't it isn't built on dealing with sensitive beings. When you go to the vet, you get antibiotics. And every pill that we put inside us, every topic that we put on our dogs, everything that isn't natural will only make the inherent problem inside worse. I am fully convinced of that. And so when your doodle is ill, I think it's to show us that there is a different way of healing needed. And that we need to look inside us for healing and not outside of us. Because all we need is inside us, and we need to learn to trust in the magic that we are, in the power that we have. And back to why I am doing this, because I have been talking way too much, is that I've been asking myself, from out of this point of self-sabotage, how can I heal myself and go to that soul magic that I believe in, to the magic that comes when you start to remember who you truly are, and when you start to take steps in the direction of your soul purpose. Because I have never done that before. And so I started to think about a self-challenge. To go from self-sabotage to activating my soul magic in 10 steps. And it's inspired by a Dutch writer called Gerard Kimpen, and his books that I read just around New Year's. And And I haven't always felt, but the last 2 years, I felt that I was in a transformation. And it has always felt that I was in a transformation, and I was, but the last 2 years, I have been starting to feel what it is that I am really here to do. And that's not just being a life coach, but it's about helping women especially heal themselves. Help them remember. Help them see the bigger picture of their life. And help them activate their soul magic. And so I wanted to use myself as an example to show you what's possible. Because one of my questions is, what is possible beyond all those things that we believe are possible? And what's possible when you start opening up to all that possibility, all that magic? So this self-challenge is for me to be prompted to take the steps that I need to get to that soul magic. But I really hope that I can inspire you as well to take that journey with me. If you feel like I did, that there is so much more possible for you than is showing up right now in your life, then I want to invite you to join me in this quest to find your true self as well and start opening up that soul magic for you. And especially when you are where I am at this moment, that money seems to be the last thing that is flowing into your life. When you want it so much, when you have so many big dreams like me. I have a mood board here and I've had it for years. I made it maybe 15 years ago, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. And when I was forced to give up my coaching room, where I gave my coaching sessions years ago, because I was pregnant with my son, who is now 6 years old, to make it into a baby room, I had to put away all my coaching stuff. And I put away that mood board and I put it in a drawer. And it was only 2 years ago, maybe, I think, that I wanted to make a workstation, a desk in our master bedroom. And I found that mood board again. And all the quotes, because they are quotes mostly, that were on that, they still resonated with me so much. And I still could see that, wow, that is what I want in my life. That is what I strive to be and have. And I am not nearly there yet. And so I put up my mood board again. And I've been looking at it ever since. And one of the things that's on it is that I do not only want to inspire, but I really want to change. I've always felt that I wanted to be a change maker, that I wanted to be a thought leader, And those are things that are difficult to share, especially when you are in the lowest point of your life, maybe. But every change maker that is successful now, and every successful thought leader started somewhere. And instead of waiting to be successful to teach all the lessons and earn a lot of money with that, helping people while earning a lot of money, I am choosing to be the underdog, because at this time you probably relate to where I'm coming from. And I want to share my inner truths with you to help you, because I have the knowing and I see the big picture. I see the big picture of my life, and I see the picture of life in general. And I just need to step into that greatness, because and I'm sure many, 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 many other women have as well, and are still doing so. I have kept myself small all these years, when I know that we as a whole are not meant to keep ourselves small and to let ourselves be kept small. To let others dictate how we need to run our lives. Because it's all about self-leadership. And if we choose a different way, we get a different way. And so that is why I wanted to do this self-challenge, hoping that you will join me on this new free-spirited awareness channel that I have opened up, because I felt that I needed to. And I am Dutch, but I have always felt the need to do things in English and globally. Because I want to make a lot of impact, I think. Maybe it's about never being seen for who I was, and now having the need to maybe being seen for the light that I feel that I am. But I truly feel that all the things that I have been going through, that I have been living through, was to be an example for other women, for you. So you can feel that you're not alone in your struggles, in your self-sabotage, and that I can show you that there is a way out. And even if I don't even know what that looks like yet, I trust that if I step into that greatness of not knowing but doing anyway, that greatness will come to me. And for me, greatness is not about I want to say having a lot of money or being a leader or all that, because I do want to have a lot of money. But more importantly, I want to be I want to start living my soul purpose. I want to start showing my light, because that in the core is what I feel that I need to do. And I want to help other women start showing their inner light as well, because we are here to help each other. And if you are a light worker, I am sure that you can resonate in what I'm saying, because I feel that all the highly sensitive, highly conscious people in this world, women in this world, are here to take leadership in showing their light, in leading other people to their inner light. I truly believe that we are here to do that. And so this is me stepping into my light by showing you the journey that I have started and inviting you to walk that journey along with me. And I was talking about my inspiration, and I had the name wrong. It's Geert Kimpen, not Gerard Kimpen. And I'm sorry, Geert. I got too caught up in the English, I think. But there's another one that I found as well, whose training I'm going to put inside the link. And it's a training to become a millionaire in a year, which is more than I hoped for and started to try for. But her name was given to me at the exact time that I was going to start this self-challenge. So I am sure that I am supposed to follow her program as well. And she has a program to take you to $1 million, or at least the $1 million mindset in a year, for only, I don't know if it was $25, maybe a bit more. I think it's $25. It's a very low priced program. And there's an affiliate link that when you share that with other people, you get half of the money back. So after sharing it with 2 people that buy the program as well, you have your money back. And that is one way for her to help the money start to flow, which I strongly believe in. I believe in a pay it forward system, and I have decided to start working from that same principle myself, as well on my coaching website as on my Doodle Comfort website, where I still sell my do-it-yourself doodle grooming courses, because for me it feels like the doodles came into my life for a reason. And even though I wanted to become a life coach all that time, and even though I now feel that I am supposed to be a healer, but healing comes in many ways. Healing comes through words, healing comes through writing, and healing comes through healing practices as well. And I give remote healings using the sacred geometry. And I combine that with Reiki. And I give personal healings as well here in the Netherlands, in my home. And I'm going to start giving group healings as well, because I feel that I am truly here to help women heal themselves by remembering who they are, opening their channel of self-love again, opening up their light for themselves, because it is about us at the core, and everything around us, everything that we have attracted into our lives, everything we see, every person we meet, every action we take, those are only, as well as our doodles are and our children are, mirrors for our inner disbalance. And I'm getting ahead of myself again. I wanted to stop here with the link, with the pay it forward, because I feel that the money system in this world isn't right. It is not the way we are meant to interact with each other. It is not the way that money is meant to be used. And I feel that we are here to help each other, and if we do that, we can truly bring heaven to earth and make this life on earth so much better, like we are living in paradise. Thank you for hearing me out, and I hope you will join me in this challenge and helping yourself from self-sabotage to activating your soul magic as well. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the luck and all the magic.